So just recently I did a video showing you guys, well, the finished product of what I was working on. This music was dedicated towards the Chicago Cubs in the big win, the big World Series. And me as a composer, I wanted to give back to my city. And so I did this soundtrack for the win, something for a sports team that wins something, just trying to, you know, do something in that vein. And so this project right here that I want to show you guys, I'm going to break it down and show you guys exactly what I did. So we totaled out about maybe 58 tracks, probably 50, probably 57. So because I'm looking at mm, probably 56 then, because I'm looking at a couple of slots that are empty, and I usually clear those out anyway. But I when doing things like this, um, it's very important that you label everything and give everything a color. This is what I try to do because it helps you understand where everything is even when you come back to it. So I did this about maybe a week ago, and I'm glad I actually broke everything down so that I can understand where everything is. Okay, so my guitar, I call it guitar lube, because the guitar kind of come in right here. So in this particular song, the tempo changes, which is pretty cool. So I started out 4/4 in the beginning, and then I went to 6/4 by the time we got to bar 20. And let's take a listen to the first part. So what I try to do was see if we could solo this out. So we start out with slow strings. And by the way, I am using the contact string, and I'm using here we go. I'm actually using the sustain articulation here. And this is the using the solo strings here. That's actually the name of it, the solo strings. What I wanted to do was I didn't want to just use the string here by itself. I wanted to add something on top of it and make it a little thicker. So what I did was I add another instance of well, it's a different texture in Omnisphere, and let's solo that and see what that sounds like. So the name of these strings, or this instrument or whatever it is called Brittle Bones. And I just thought it add some type of texture to kind of thicken it up a little bit, just give it something different. Right? And then right under that, I added these pad sounds, more like a pad lush hybrid. It's real soft and sad right here. And the idea that I was trying to capture was the fact that the Chicago Cubs have not won in 108 years. And so that was the feeling that I was trying to give. I was trying to evoke that type of feeling like, man, it's been a long time. But somewhere along the line, the music kind of picks up around here where I labeled guitar lube, and the time signature changed from 4/4 to 6/4. So, and I'm just scrolling down and seeing what else I did. So, the guitar is not, it's not a real guitar here, but what I tried to do was, I don't have a guitar player, so I'm using an ample guitar, and it kind of pick up here, at 6/4 here. So right here, now it's time to go. So we picking it up, the tempo, we changing the signature here, and I added a boom here, as you can hear in the background down here, and this roll here I add was from, what was it from? It was from Damage, I believe, from Contact Complete, and I believe that's what it is. Yeah. So it was from Damage, and I just bounced it down in place and put it there. And some of you guys ask me, and I probably have mentioned this several times in some of my videos, but you asked me, why do you bounce in place? Well, if you're looking at this session, I have, like I just mentioned, about maybe 56 tracks. And when you get up to, that much or even beyond, you want to start looking into bouncing down things in place, because then this session will tend to get a little large, and you definitely don't want to run an entire session just using a bunch of plugins and instruments, because those things will eat up. In this particular song, I left a bunch of MIDI instruments available. Like, I didn't even bounce them. Well, there's not that many though, but most of them is in wave form right now. Yeah, so most of it is bounced down in wave form, and there's just a certain instruments I kind of left there alone, which is fine because it's not really taxing my CPU right now, so I didn't worry about it. So right here in this section, I wanted to invoke a change in the situation. It's been 100 years since they won, but we won in 2016, and so we building. Like, right here is that moment where everyone is in front of their TV and they watching, and it's like, it's intense right now, because it was like, I know when I was watching the Cubs, it was like, are they gonna win or are they not? You know what I mean? It was very intense, and it was like we got all the way to this point, and it was like, man, okay, so when you're doing music is definitely, that music carries the emotion of the film, of the picture, of the song. You know what I mean? It carries the message, and it's very important. It carries a lot. It tells a story from the writer's heart. So that's what this is, or this is what I try to invoke. So we have strings, viola, staccatos. So I got cello staccatos, and I got viola staccatos, and I wanted to build a little bit more even in this section right here, so I added more. And that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted to do, and so I got some stick action. But it's muted. It's actually, this was bounced in place, and this definitely came from Damage. Yeah. So I got some action drums down here. It's like a battlefield type. Okay, all right. It's been 108 years, but now we about to, we out of that. We've actually moved to the next phase, the next You know what I'm saying? We move from that point. We no longer losers. And we're gonna fight for this. You know what I mean? That was that moment. So I believe there was like a boom here. That's what it sounded like. Yeah. So I added another boom just to give it that bottom rumble. You just imagine playing this in your theater system or in a theater. You got subs. It's gonna shake them subs, and that was the goal here. You know what I mean? That's what the boom is there for. And can't really hear it that much in the mix if you weren't listening through headphones or listening through your laptop, but you can definitely feel the shaking if you have you know, if you're playing it through a system or whatnot. And then I have something else playing in this section here, like this warm. It's like, you know, it kind of it's kind of, I don't know, it's right there. It's I'm holding it. It's like an atmospheric thing, and it kind of gives you the sense that something is about to happen. Like, okay, it's like wait for it. So that's what that's there for, and everything else is just, you know. And the guitars, the way that the guitars are mixed in there, is like is almost like it's a part of the percussion section. You know, the way that that you're strumming it here, but it's actually whole notes to it as well, as you can hear it as it starts in the beginning. You know, but the nylon tip, the pick that's going across the string, it is giving that percussive sound, that percussive feeling. So now you got, you know, you bobbing your head right here. There was something else I heard. Oh, so let me explain the guitars even further, because I did something pretty unique with the guitars. Now with the guitars, what I did was I used the ample guitar. Let's see if I still have that plug in. This is the plugin I'm using, and I love this guitar. I just love the way it sounds. This is the ample guitar here, and what I did was I used this to get across what I'm trying to achieve here, and so this is what it sounds like. Right, and then I bounced it again. I duplicated and got a different tone just by using this preset here, this guitar rig effect. So I want to give it that distortion, that distorted, you know, like it's coming through an amp. And so let's see if we was to go. So that's by itself, but if I add the other one with it, it's a very subtle difference, but it's there. You know what I mean? So that's what I wanted to do. Add a subtle difference. Is there, and it's actually panned. So depending, you know what I mean? And so you know, so that it can give like some sort of stereo depth to it, you know, give the guitar something a little bit different, and kind of pan one side and the other one the other side. And so it gives like this, you know, it's, I don't want to say trick your ear, but that's actually what it's doing. It's like, okay, it's like it's two different things going on at, you know, at this point. So that's kind of what that was. And then let's go forward in this part, and it's really doing the same thing. All of the other instrumentation that I introduced was making it more exciting. So right here there is a rise or boom or whatever. So then we kind of going into the next phase of the song. And so what I did was I introduced live drums or live acoustic sound. All right. So what I did was I went in and add these drums here. I have a drum section that I packed in this folder here. And these drums are coming from Studio Drummer from Native Instruments inside of the Contact player. So what I did was I played them out. And as soon as I got down what I wanted, I used the feature inside of Studio One, which is called explode to pitches. And so this is how I was able to explode or you know, pretty much get everything on its separate channel. So now I got my kick on this channel, my snare, my hats, and so forth. And so I have a full kit right here, you know. By itself, it kind of sounds cheesy to me, but it works in the mix. And yeah, it just sounds really cheesy. But in sports music, this is what it sounds like. This is the sound that they're going for. You know what I mean? I'm trying to remember yeah. So I did a little bit to the drums. I added compressor. Where did compressor come from? That's a new word, right? I added compression to the kick, and I got the API on here, and just to kind of give the beater a little bit more presence. And then I got the compressor here, kind of pushing it through a little bit more. And I got my my EQ here, kind of just kind of pointing out different things. I did a boost in the 500 hertz range, and then another boost in the 5 hertz range, just to give the like I say, the beater a little presence. Then I also did a boost here, the low end here, because it was kind of thin to me. So that's what we did there. And there's also a transient master on here, just to give that extra push that I needed. And it actually worked for what I'm doing. And as you can see, it looks as though it's in the red. It looks like the kick is just pushing through the red. And actually, the way Studio One, like the sound of Studio One, is really not in the red. It's really not distorting. You know, my thing is, if it don't sound distorted, then it's cool. I don't like mixing in the red, but in this case, I'm good because it doesn't sound distorted. And Studio One provides extra overhead, in the mix. So you are pretty much good to go. Like, you know. And it sounds good to me. And so what I did was I add these drums to a reverb, bounced it down. Here's my reverb here to kind of give it a. So say for instance I muted that. Okay, I can't mute it from right there. But say for instance, and you see how dead and dry it sounds. And so that reverb right there just kind of did the trick. And this is a RC24 reverb by Native Instruments as well. And the preset I'm using is Drummer's Room. All right. And that just kind of did what I need to. I think I may have made some adjustments here and there or whatever. I don't really remember what adjustments I made. But with the hats, I didn't care for the EQ on the hats. The hats did not sound super to me. So for instance, say let's deactivate the plugins. You know what I mean? the hat sounded a little bit dull to me. So what I did was I cut somewhere in the 5 hertz a little bit before then to kind of get that muffled sound to me out of there. It's just so the high of the hi-hats can pop a little bit more. And so then, I put an API on here. So now it's a little brighter. Okay. Now there's a tom here that's not supposed to hit. Now I think yeah. So that's why you hear that right there when I hit the play at 36, at bar 36, because some of the toms are still kind of bleeding over. Now with the snare, I just added simple compression to it just to make it. Let's see what that sound like. The snare sounds stale, but with the compression, it squashes it just a tad bit to kind of give it that compressed sound, and it's right there. So it's doing exactly what I want it to do. But there's another snare here somewhere. I'm trying to remember where it is. There's another snare because this was actually the first snare that I started out with, and so that's why that snare sounds the way it does, because there was another one in here that's kind of cracking like I need to. So this is, yeah. So maybe I should move this snare down some. But it's up there because this is what I was going by. Like this snare was designed in the beginning of this section right here, and I just left it in, and that's when I came down and built the drums. So now, actually, when you're listening to the drums, this is what you really should hear. So the snare is definitely hitting harder. In most cases, I will actually move the snare drum down here where the drums are, but I just left them there. All right, so then we have the risers here, and again, these are coming from Native Instruments. Yeah, give it that excitement right there. So that's what we was doing right there, and it kind of repeats itself here and there. And yeah, now the bass. Now this was the original bass, but after moving on in the project, it started to get too bassy. Like the bass, the low end frequency of this bass was too busy, or not necessarily too busy, but it was clashing with some other elements that, but nevertheless, I think what I tried to do was add it back. I wanted to add some type of acoustic bass there to kind of give it that, that's what they're doing in sports music. So the bass elements are definitely there, and actually, to be honest, now that I'm listening to it, this bass is actually carrying the song, and my kick is not really heavy, so it's actually the other way around. So my bass this time, remember, I don't know if you guys remember or seen any other videos that I posted. I told you guys that your kick or your bass is what's going to carry your song. So when you composing your song, you have to make a choice as to what's going to be what will carry the song. In this case, the bass is carrying it. a lot of cases when I'm doing music, the kick is carrying a song. So both of them can't be, dominant in that instance or whatever. When you're talking about low end or whatever, um, this is another bass that's muted. Okay, that's the same thing. This is what I bounced in place down here. So okay, so I don't have to show you that. All right, so um, let's see, what is this? More drums. Can't get enough of drums. Pretty much self-explanatory, and I actually played that out like manually, just to kind of, I don't know, give it what I'm looking for. So let's go to the brass, the horn, all that, and the wind and the effects and all that stuff just came in just by searching in the loop section here, and that's how I pull some of those transitions and different things, just to kind of give the song a nice transition, give it that glue together type effect, when you introducing a new section of the song. Sometimes you may feel like that it just sounds so right there, like it's just bam, like I need something to kind of help bring it in. And so you can never go wrong with effects there. So this F horn here, I just think that French horns are like the key to getting your song that sound. And this was like a little sprinkle on, like just to give it that, kind of dance around, make it interesting to listen to. Now, right here is where we have some harmony going. Right? And let's add these choirs to it, because I want to add like a more so like a chanting ambient type thing. Yeah, kind of make it thicker there. Like, all right, we getting ready for the finale. You know what I mean? And I think I had strings there. Now the strings are like pretty much laying down the chord bed in the background. So the goal here is, filling it up. And also have some pads, other pads that I added in this section here. If we could listen to that. So I got strings and like space pads type things, and legato strings or legato violas, and so that there you have it. That's pretty much the gist of the song and what we did. And I'm just trying to make sure that that's everything that I've done. Right? So, I hope that I was able to achieve the sound, that sound, that sports sound, and I wanted to break this down to you guys just to kind of give you a feel of what I was able to do. I had a lot of fun achieving this, and I'm just doing what I do, And the most awesome thing that happened in this is once I got done, I had a vision as to what the visual should look like. I wanted to put it to film and picture it, but I had my wife help me out, and she did an awesome job. And so, like, a little bit after this, you guys can check out the video itself. My wife actually edited the video, and she captured the vision, and this is pretty much what we came up with together as a team. So hope that you guys enjoy what I shared with you thus far. Remember, music is art. You the artist, paint your picture. Stay tuned for the video in this video.
As God made green apples, someday the Chicago Cubs are going to be in the World Series, and maybe sooner than we think.